Ow, yeah.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am back and I don't plan on being on here long. There may be a couple of people who might pop on and they may not. I just wanted to give a short commentary on the update of Sonya Massey and the $10 million settlement, which was approved mid-February. Now, of course, I believe most people by now remember this case. It was a horrible case where Sonya Massey reportedly had mental health issues and she called for assistance for the police to come to her residence on July the 6th, 2024. She lost her life shortly after an interaction with Sean Grayson, who was the former, or who is a former deputy sheriff of Sangamon County. Now, there are many people that have a difference of opinion, and that is okay. Actually, it's healthy. I don't believe that anyone should agree with one person, whether it be the person who is streaming, the person who is giving commentary, a guest, or anyone. Everyone has their own opinions. I had a short, and I do mean brief, back and forth with an individual, and that's what I'm going to address really quickly. I believe his name was Hammock Camper 5200, who to me was one of these people who pull out Google and extrapolate certain words to make themselves sound slightly intelligent. But everything that he said, and again, he's free to his opinion, but in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, he was extremely biased and went so far as saying that if Sonya didn't mouth off at the police, well, number one, again, I do not engage with ignorance, and that is not a slight to anyone. And I definitely will not engage in a backwards and forth with someone who everything that comes out of their mouth is a tall tale. So let me put that out there. Whoever needs to hear it, I'm sure they'll hear it and continue on accordingly. But this individual, to me, gave undertones, actually overtones, of wearing a particular color sheet with the eyes cut out. Just very insensitive, in my opinion. And again, I understand more than people think about certain forces. I've seen worse, and people not being treated that way. To this day, I cannot watch the body cam footage of the actual incident. I could hear a little bit her speaking, and then Sean Grayson speaking, and the words and obscenities that were shouted. And unfortunately, many people saw him carry out exactly what it was that he said he was going to do. Hey there, DJ Is. How are you? I'm sorry, DJ Is. I am doing well, Miracle Hope. How are you? Hello there, Hood TMZ. Thank you for coming by. I'll drop the link later if anyone has anything they would like to say, how they feel about this $10 million settlement. Again, this was reached early in February. Sadly, prior to her 37th birthday. Now, again, I wasn't there, so I cannot attest to everything that went on. And we know, unfortunately, in many cases, some facts we may never know. We may never know. Some things get tainted, some things, air quotes, get lost, some things are not recorded. And what this person, Mr. Hammock Camping 5200, if you're out there, you completely glossed over the fact that Sean Grayson didn't even have his body cam on at the moment. So there are a lot of questions on both ends. And I said this earlier, something, and I will continue to feel this way. Something about this whole incident, in my opinion, doesn't feel right because $10 million, okay, to the family. But just as someone else said, by the time the attorneys receive their cut, and trust and believe, Ben Crump most certainly did, is not going to bring her back. You cannot put a price tag on life. Unfortunately, many think that when they see million or millions or billions, that that's justice. Is it though? Is it? I'm sorry, I just find it hard to believe that someone the height and with the background of Sean Grayson felt that he was in imminent danger where he had to, as I said, carry out what he said he was going to do. And what makes matters worse, and again, these are just my opinions, the fact that, again, according to reports, there was no urgency on his part to even render aid, regardless of the condition, to me says a lot. There are people that say that there are reports that she was involved in incidents prior to. She may have been. I don't know this, but there are reports as well that he was involved in activities or allegations. I have to be prudent and responsible and say allegations because, again, I don't know this to be true, but things that may blemish his character. Again, does it mean that she had to lose her life and in that manner? So, Hammock Camping 5200, if you're out there, I hope you have the same energy now that you see this settlement. And again, it's not going to bring her back. It will, however, in my opinion, send even just a modicum of a message that you can't honestly believe that you can do certain things, especially when it's caught on film in these days and times without any consequences. I know that there is an appeal, there is a push for him to be released prior to trial due to a medical issue that may happen, that actually may happen. The family of Sonya Massey, they have to also keep in mind that there's Sean Grayson's family, friends, and loved ones who may feel the complete opposite. So you have two situations going on here. You have a lot of emotion that's going on here. Unfortunately, we will remember this because, unfortunately, it was captured on film. Hey there, Brett. Good to see you. I'll have to keep that in mind, but good to see you. Hold on for a second. Someone just pulled up next to me with their music blasting. Hold on. Okay, hopefully it'll be drowned out a little bit, but a bunch of young people, a bunch of young people. Hopefully they are careful once they finish doing what it is they're doing. But anyway, you have two situations here. Okay, Brett, hold on for one quick moment. Okay, it is absolutely, I'm not going to say freezing, but it is cold. And these young kids are out here with short sleeves on. Some have shorts on, but those are young folks for you. So, again, back to Sean Grayson and his family and loved ones, regardless of how people feel. And again, there's a population of people who feel one way. They have their interpretation of facts, and then you have a population of people who feel another way and their interpretation of the facts. However, at the end of the day, it is my opinion, just mine, that that woman did not have to lose her life in the manner that she did. And unfortunately, as I was saying earlier, that video, that audio will be etched in many people's souls for a very long time. Unfortunately, there are many Sonya Masseys. Brett, are you paying attention to the thumbnail and what it was I said earlier? Sonya Massey was the woman on July the 6th, 2024, just to recap, who called for assistance from the police. Again, July the 6th, 2024. And as a result of activities that happened when the police arrived, she ended up without her life in a tragic way. So her family was approved for a $10 million settlement. So, no, it wasn't me, it was her family. And Ben Crump, who I really don't care for at all, and I've made that clear, spearheaded this and has said that he's called for legislation for these things not to happen again. Hey there, Thani. How are you? Good to see you. But it is my opinion, at least in my lifetime, that we won't see that happen. And I'm not being a pessimist, I'm being a realist. I do not see this happening in our lifetime because unfortunately we have people, women and men both, who don a uniform, who don a badge or some trinket that symbolizes power. Yes, it does. And I'm not going to put your comment up because of the words, but I'll just um, speak around it. Brett says, OF, that sucks to lose a loved one, but at least her family got something out of the deal, but you can't get back a loved one. No, Brett, you can't. And that's what I had mentioned earlier. You cannot put a price tag on life. And again, you said something that sticks to me, where you said at least her family got something out of the deal. And I wish you didn't use that word there because I can't really block it out, but I would definitely put that up and keep it as a reference because, again, my opinion, my opinion only, something still doesn't sit right with me as it relates to that entire incident. I did a video or a live on the actual body cam of her speaking to people prior to, I think, the last 16 hours. And yes, you could tell that she was going through something. And from my optics, she didn't appear, at least at that time, to be a threat. Her mother, and I want to say her aunt, I believe, they were getting frustrated with her. Now, this is the part that gets sensitive for people because when you're dealing with a loved one with mental health issues, I'm sure that can cause an enormous amount of strain. And I will repeat, I wasn't there. I have no idea the effect that Sonia's behavior, if she was going through a period of distress, how that may have affected her family. And sometimes, to her family's defense, when people get frustrated or stressed out, they may say things that sound cruel to others listening in from the outside. One of the things that was said, which bothered me, but again, I'm not in their shoes, so I can't speak to how they should feel or how they did feel. I just can't do it. And I had to check myself for that, but it did make me feel a certain way when her mom said she's not going to drive me crazy too. So that alone, that alone signals to me that we need to have conversations on mental health. Those that are caring for people with mental health issues. There are people among us, some that we work with every day, some we may share a home with that may be going through something, and we have absolutely no idea they're facing mental health issues. And when people hear mental health, automatically they want to place crazy and attach nuts and other cruel labels to that person. I think a lot of people have forgotten sensitivity. There are people that take medication, and again, you wouldn't know that they're going through something. But for those that it's obvious that they're going through a crisis, I think, I believe we should try to be a little bit more patient and understanding how they might feel. Those in law enforcement, those first responders. And keep in mind, if you paid attention to that video, now that is one that I could watch, and I actually dissected it. Each of those individuals were extremely kind to her. They listened to her. She did not feel threatened by them. She engaged with them. That interaction was a stark contrast as he read. As the interaction she had on that fateful day, it began normal, but then just a few short moments later, it turned into something extremely dark and ominous. And as I said, I believe that many people who have been following this case saw and heard and at least read the outcome. $10 million, again, to some may seem like it's a lot, but as Brett mentioned, and as many people will say, it's not going to bring your loved one back. And it's definitely not going to erase the memories and the images and perhaps feelings that maybe there was something more we could have done to have prevented this happening in the first place. Unfortunately, woulda, coulda, shoulda is not going to help, will never help this particular case. And even though, according to officials, this settlement is significant, it would be if you're looking at it from the area, which is Sangamon County. But if you were in a city such as Washington, D.C., or whatever areas are huge places where things happen, New York, California, places in Texas, 10 million, in my opinion, should just be a drop in a bucket. And again, I reiterate, it's not going to bring a loved one back. So, in closing, my question is, as a result of this settlement, this $10 million settlement, do you believe that justice for Sonya Massey has been served? Or is this just a band aid to appease the family, knowing that the probability of an incident such as this happening again is extremely high? It's something to think about. We've seen video after video after video of heinous crimes at the hands of those who are there to serve and protect. We've also seen some of these videos where those who have been placed in these positions to serve and protect were acquitted, even though our eyes saw something heinous. Lady Justice saw different, and many have walked, and unfortunately, in my opinion, others will walk too. That's my commentary and update on this very sad and tragic story of Sonya Massey, the young woman who was 36 at the time, lost her life shortly after calling the police, who arrived at her residence when she thought there was a prowler outside. And again, there have been so many different accounts and stories given. There have been different angles of footage. So One never knows, but what we do know is Sonya Massey is no longer with us. And less than a year, a settlement has been reached in the amount of $10 million to the family of Sonya Massey. Thank you to those that have tuned in and to those who may catch the replay. Any comments you may have, you are welcome to leave them. Just be respectful. And again, to Hammock Camping 52, if you're out there listening, it's time. Please know what you're talking about and answer all the questions that you pose to me. Don't be biased. Don't be biased. It's not a good look. I actually want you to respond to this and tell me how you feel about this settlement. Your thoughts on that. Everyone, enjoy your night. Till next video. Please be safe, be well, and you know the rest. Be healthier. Bye bye for now.